By the way, and we are live. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if you guys could still hear.
I have a problem with muting myself because I'm reading down here, and yes, my tits look like jugs, honestly.
It's all right.
British joke for you there.
It's all right. So, welcome every person that is watching, which is at this point in time.
People of mythical origin. Let's not forget the people of mythical origin.
Oh, for great, we can forget whomever I found. But in all fairness, there's three people there. That would be Ludicrous, you, and me. So there's not a lot of people watching at the moment.
That's what I said. You, me, and a person of mythical origin.
So the question is, are we going to talk trash a bit, or shall we just get started?
No, let's talk trash a bit.
Let's talk trash a bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, Ludicrous started it, calling you Mugway and me Jugs the Bemused.
Sounds better than Mugway, to be honest.
Yeah, the trouble with Mug is it's not a good sounding. What's the word?
Doesn't sound friendly. Let's call it like that.
Syllable. It's not a friendly sounding syllable. It's a bit Mugway as opposed to Jug. Jolly Jug.
Yeah, or being mugged.
No, that's Mugway. Whereas Jug is jolly. See, this is my point. It's like
Ludicrous, you're showing your how do I say this? Unfair bias towards me.
No, I think he's biased towards me.
He's biased in favor of you.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's not too well. All right.
It is. Oh, Jimmy Stifffinger's moderating for thee. Name dropping.
Well done. Well done, Jimmy. Can you tell V to come on over then? He might enjoy it.
Exactly, Ludicrous. I believe you're equal opportunities.
Everyone equal. How nice.
Well, that's an old view, that is.
So, well, a lot of people are doing live streams nowadays then, isn't it?
Well, if you listen to me, I've been explaining this for quite a while, that doing pre-cooked videos, which is a pain in the arse and hard work, is dying a death and people are streaming. Though Michael Keller proffered the opinion yesterday in a Honey Badger stream that YouTube are going to be banning live streams.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why would they do that?
Oh, why do they do anything?
Well, why would... Yeah, okay, fair enough.
See, it's all part of their devious plan. What it is you demonetize videos and monetize streams, okay? So then everyone switches to streams or premieres. And then, having got everyone settled in that, you stop the streaming. Yeah, another way to fuck with people. The YouTube way.
I'm really sorry about the things that are happening at Cocoscope, because I really like Cocoscope a lot more than I like YouTube, to be honest.
Well, I like VidMe because the interaction, the chat, and that was brilliant, but they just couldn't scale, and we underestimate the technical issues at our peril.
Yeah, VidMe was nice. I don't think we'll see them back.
No, because you see, this is a fundamental mistake people make. They think scaling computer systems is easy when in fact it's insanely hard.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
And
so we've not got 5 viewers. I doubt that.
well, maybe Jimmy forgot to close his stream, so that'd be 4.
Maybe.
And Ludacris is a split personality, so that's 2.
By the way, Ludacris, completely off topic. How's your sword, mate? Ah, there is number 4. Hi there, Zelix. Welcome.
Oops, hang on.
And Toxic. Now, that's nice. We've got Toxic here as well.
Yeah. I wonder what she thought of my little treatise.
Oh, you sent it to her as well?
Didn't you read the email who I sent it to? I sent it to you and her.
I was at my work. I was on my phone. No, I didn't.
No, in fact, I recorded it for Toxic and you were the afterthought, but anyway.
Oh. Anyway, Toxic brought me to you guys a very nice gift. Well, I'm thankful for the compliment, Zelix. Thank
Well,
you
if
very
you
much.
scroll up where I go on about never ending with the gift that keeps giving. Not necessarily in a good way.
I like it when people give us compliments.
So do I. Reddit?
Well, we'll talk about it now anyway, Toxic, so don't worry about that. And we may as well get started. So, John,
Yeah?
do the honors.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, do the honors. Do the honors. Sorry, I was typing in my brain. Okay. Well, I wrote this.
Too old fast, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. In 2 years. And free prescriptions. That'd be good. Yes. So we hear a lot of talk about what's wrong with our societies, with emphasis on the end of faith and what that brings to us. Now, as an atheist, there's a kind of problem with harping back to the days of mass faith, because if you don't believe there's a God, faith doesn't really work. But what we've also noticed is that non-religious ideologies have stepped into the vacuum created by the decline in religious belief, which led me through a chain of realization to realize that essentially, because religions have been around and we're just ubiquitous, we put them in a separate mental box, religion, and then we have ideologies, we put that in a different box, and then we say, oh, people who are into ideologies behave like the religious. Well, what if they're actually the same box, not with respect to God, but with respect to ideology? Because successful religions are also a form of ideology. Now, in order to explain that, we have to ask the question, what is an ideology? And I have managed to sum it up in a very, very few words, I know, which is that an ideology provides a heuristic for people. It provides them with ready-made view of the world, which provides answers. And from that framework of that, there is a derived morality. That is a set of behavior. And when you add those together, you get a sense of shared identity. Or as Modwayne has often said, kudos to Modwayne for this, what ties a people together is a shared culture, and a religion provides that shared culture, and it provides a mechanism for maintaining that culture and teaching it to each generation as you go along. But because it's so well established, we've not tended to see that as an ideology. But now that we have a lack of religious belief and we see ideologies doing the same thing, it becomes more apparent what those similarities are. So the question I would say is, what do we do about the lack of the old ideology, the religious belief, and the threat posed, and it's a very real threat, by the new ideologies, given that they are batshit crazy and out of touch with reality?
No, that's true. The thing is, and I like the idea of whether we need a new ideology. I don't think we do, actually. I think we need to re-establish what it meant to be of a Western ideological descent.
Okay, but that doesn't have an identity, which is the point. I'm not talking about creating new beliefs or
No,
new.
I understand.
It's a marketing packaging exercise.
But I disagree with you that doesn't have an identity.
Okay.
I think it does. People don't recognize it as an identity anymore, but I think it does.
Okay, then the job's nearly done. The point being is that there's a vacuum. People don't recognize this thing you say exists, but no one recognizes. And the point is to push the ideology.
Yeah. Hi there, Michael, by the way. Let me. Maybe I should try to explain what I meant.
See, I'm just being empirical. Empirically, we have all our kids going to university and being indoctrinated in the batshit ideologies, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm talking about, how about we create an alternative that inoculates them against it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the main thing. We need to re-educate our children, and in all fairness, our adults as well, our society. We need to re-educate them in what it means to be.
But you are supposing that a lot of people were ever educated in these, because it's always been so implicit, and this is my point, it needs to be made explicit. Given an identity, given something people can just say, oh yes, this is what I believe in, and this is how you behave, and these are the values you have, and they just happen for a change to be good ones, as opposed to the batshit ones.
No, that's true. That's true. So the question is, how can we make people recognize what they have?
By creating a new ideology and selling it to people. Not selling with money, but selling with, as in, the free marketplace of ideas. You see, at the moment, you get your classical liberal, like Sargon of Akkad, and he gets branded alt-right. Why? It's a marketing issue.
Yeah.
So what you want is to have a new brand that says, no, we're even better than the feminists because we actually want equality, and it's all equality, not just the sort they pretend to want. No, we're not dominating. It's about ideas. It's not about power. It's about ideas.
Well, in a way, you could say it's about power. Though power doesn't have to be, how do I say this?
Yeah, you mean soft power, not hard power.
Sorry?
Soft power, not hard power.
Yeah.
I mean, thinking whose brain? What are you talking about?
Oh, you seriously don't know that?
Yeah, I don't know that. Is that to do with the
let me see if I can find it.
The Michael Myers thingy.
1 second. Let's see if I can find it.
Seriously? No, we're not being serious, Michael.
Oh, not like that.
What was it? What was it called? The I forget.
This is the one. This is the one. Let me see if I can do this and that and everything right.
Oh,
Can't because I'm crap. Oh, share. Okay, so I think it's this.
is it?
Go, yeah.
To plan for tomorrow night.
It's a cartoon.
Where are you going, Brain?
Back to the cage to plan for tomorrow night.
Why? What are we going to do tomorrow night?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. Try to...
Nope.
Okay, once is enough.
Nope. I honestly have no familiarity with that at all.
Well, but try to take over the world indeed. No, but the idea of how can I because I like your concept. We need to create a new ideology. We need to create a new faith, if you will.
Not a faith, but a belief system. There's a fundamental difference, because Topsy did shout at me, quite rightly, for saying that an ideology was like a religion because there's no God. And so it's not like a religion. Okay. So we have to differentiate between belief, which is understanding, and faith, which is to do with deities and things.
All right. But the idea is you can have an ideology, and that ideology can be to be both open-minded and blah, 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 but while still being strong in realizing who you are. And for this, I would like to go back to, for example, if we look at the Americas, if we look at England, if we look at most Western countries just after the Second World War, people recognized who they were, what they stood for.
Yeah, they've been through an existential crisis that always focuses the attention.
True. But if we know that they had it then, we need to revert our mindset to what they had then.
The question isn't what, it's how.
Okay.
And that is what I've been trying to address, the how.
Okay.
Because the threat is posed by ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they successful? How do they operate? What is their role? Etc. These are the issues I have laid out.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the reason for a packaged ideology is as I said, which you'd known if you'd paid attention to the thing I sent you, is a reworking or a derivation from all the works of the Enlightenment. There's a huge body of work, but that body of work is not in itself accessible to the sort of person who's too busy with life and just wants something to understand the world by.
Okay. So then let me try and come across what I want to say. So how do we create a pattern of recognizable thoughts and behaviors to create a returning pride in our society? Because currently our society is being taught to be negative towards itself, to not recognize the good it has done.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we, obviously we can point out all the great things that we have done, but
that's what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say. We have to understand what an ideology is, what it needs to do, and put the ideas into that form. Mm-hmm. Rather than it's not about education. This is the fundamental problem, because You take your average protester.
Uh-huh.
You go up to them and you say, okay, you're protesting this person. What have they done? They haven't got a clue. Why are you protesting them? Haven't got a clue.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't got a clue and they don't care. All they know is that they are being a righteous person and are doing the right thing to protest an evil person, and they know they're evil because somebody told them, and that somebody had managed to gather enough credibility under their moral framework to be listened to.
Okay. I do think it is based on having people recognize things again.
Yes,
So
but you have to boil it down, make it digestible, so that people can say, I don't do that because it's against my belief system, which is, it's like the way you see the SJWs react.
Okay, so
instinctual. They're not thinking, there's no brain engagement. They have just been tuned to see this, react like that. That's what the ideology does.
But we've been indoctrinating. We have been indoctrinated. Our children are being indoctrinated to believe in certain things. We need them to recognize that what they're being told now is a blatant falsehood, a blatant lie. We need to make our children and our adults, in all fairness, recognize that, wait a second, why are we lying to each other?
Now, again, you're fundamentally missing the point.
Okay.
To the ideological, the truth is irrelevant. As Alicia quoted me on saying in her latest video, they already know the truth. Facts are just an inconvenience. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm sorry.
You can't.
No, wait. Because I think I recognize the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need to have a cultural cohesive society. That's what I always say.
Mm-hmm.
Recognition of what the Western world is will do that. We need to readdress the reality of things to the majority of people.
Mm-hmm.
But we will not be able to reach the ideologues that are against it.
No, you're in potentially violent competition with them.
Yeah. But those are the ones who know the truth and keep pushing the lie.
Yes.
Most people.
So you have to replace them in the eyes of the unindoctrinated. See, at the moment, a feminist goes on TV and she just spouts some feminist bullshit, and all the nodding heads who host the show, whatever, agree and are sympathetic and make it even more plausible because of that. Somebody with a counter narrative goes on and then gets lambasted, and then the person at home goes, well, that doesn't seem right to me. They seem to be talking nonsense. Yeah, they all agree, and the one person who seems to be making sense, and the whole process just undermines self-confidence of the individual at home.
Yeah.
The purpose is to create a competing narrative that can say, no, okay, when they tell you that these poor women who are privileged like no one else in the history of the universe are oppressed, they got it wrong. Because what they have is far more important. They have freedom.
Yeah, but I really think, and this might be my mistake, but I really think that we cannot reach the ideologues.
No, I'm not trying to reach the ideologues.
Please, let me finish, mate. Let me finish. Yeah? So, I'm not going to repeat what I just said, but everyone else we need to reach by making, not by telling them new truths, but by making them think themselves. And therein lies the problem.
Sorry, no, and this is your problem. That's what people have been trying and have abjectly failed at.
Yeah.
And the point I came to was that most people want a simple explanatory ideology that provides answers, tells them how to behave so that they can be good members of society, because they're far too busy living their lives. They haven't got time to think about things. They haven't got time to fact check. They just want a nice heuristic to live by. And what has happened is, in the absence of a decent heuristic, the undecent ones of feminism and Marxism have stepped into the void. Now, they are so absurd, they might not dominate all of society, but unfortunately they've dominated the so-called intelligentsia, which is a contradiction in terms right now. And so they have seeped into our judiciary, our police, our government. All these people have been soaked and seeped in this same ideological narrative, so that even people who call themselves conservatives generally buy into the lies spread by these ideologies. And I'm not saying it's trivial. What I'm saying is you need to produce something that will combat that. And the thing that will combat it is the thing that people want.
Well,
what
I
they
think
want is simple.
well, the first thing we need to do is we need to start dominating the media.
Sorry.
Well, there it is, because that's the main indoctrination.
No, but you're going straight to the end, and I want to start at the mechanism to get to the end.
Okay.
Because you can't just say, oh, we need to. Yeah, fine, great. But how? How? You do it by creating an alternative, competing, compelling, but non-harmful ideology.
Mm-hmm. Well, in all fairness, I do think that if we look at what happens on the internet,
As Elix said, they want something that appeals to their emotions. Exactly. It needs to have a moral framework to it, something that people can attach to emotionally, feel like good people for following it. People, feminists, don't behave better than anyone else. They just think they do because they're feminists. And it's literally that simple. I'm a good person because I'm a feminist. You're a bad person because you're not a feminist.
Yeah. So how can we?
So we created a way for people to feel good about themselves and to have an emotional response to that is actually a healthy set of ideas, not something like feminism, which will destroy society, consume it.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm not quite sure how to do it, though. That's a good question.
Well, you have to, the thing is to create a set of beliefs that we can then package to people, which as I say, acts as an it has to explicitly be an alternative to the ideologies that are currently wreaking so much damage. Because that is the level at which they're operating and are being successful. I mean, if you put the body of enlightenment work up against the body of postmodernism, which is supposed to be a negative reaction to the Enlightenment, there's no contest.
Yeah, I never understood why people are in favor of postmodernism, to be honest.
Because the facts are irrelevant.
Sorry?
The facts are irrelevant.
Well, something made it bigger.
Yeah, no, as I said, because to those people, facts are irrelevant.
Yeah, but I mean, if those people, and here we come back to the ideologues, if they are ideologues in this way, how can we turn them over? I don't think...
we don't. You don't turn over the enemy ideologues. You outcompete them.
Unfortunately, the vast majority of our society doesn't care either way.
No, exactly. And so you can't just say, oh, go and read Locke, go and read Smith, go and read Adams. You do it for them. Just as most people have never read the Bible or the Quran or...
Yeah. Yeah. All you have to do is look less crazy than the ideologues. Yeah, the problem is that sounds nice, but I don't think that's enough.
No, but you've got to sell them something. This is my point. You have to have something to sell them. Because at the end of the day, people will go, yeah, but you're not suggesting anything. You haven't got anything I can just neatly tuck into my mind and then forget about and just pull it out when I need it.
Mm-hmm. So how can we do this? I mean, do we have any suggestions?
Well, you see, the first point is to get to a point where there is agreement that this is a thing to do and worth doing. Because this is why I started with a description to say it is my proposal that this is what would be a good thing to do. Because it's no good rushing off and doing it if it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, well, we can easily see why it would be a good thing to, how do you call it, reinvigorate Western society. I mean,
the way I put it is to give people confidence again and a belief in our cultures, what's good about our cultures, and to identify what ideas are not compatible with our cultures, because our weakness at the moment is too much acceptance and tolerance, and you've talked about how tolerance is a bad thing. Well, then we have to give it an ideological framework to say it might sound good to say you're tolerant, but if the people you're tolerant to are going to come and kill you, that is not a good thing.
Yeah, you can't be tolerant to people that basically don't tolerate you.
Exactly.
And I think you should never be tolerant. Either you accept or you do not.
But we don't have an ideological framework for that position. This is one of our problems. Mm-hmm. And thus, you can have all the SJWs go, oh, you've got to be tolerant to Islam. You've got to be tolerant to Islam. No. We can be tolerant to Muslims, but Islam can go sit on a stick and swivel.
It's double, though.
Sorry? It's double.
Because, I mean, we cannot... Yeah, how do I say this? We cannot make people realize because they don't want to realize.
No, so you don't. You don't sell them a reaction. You sell them an alternative. When a new brand of something comes out, it doesn't go, oh, you don't want all those old brands because they're bad for you. They go, this is fantastic. This is the best one ever.
Uh-huh.
You don't draw people's attention to what you want them to come away from. You merely want to take them to where you want them to go.
Mm.
And it's not, and it's not as if our societies aren't steeped in these ideas that are healthy. It's just most people don't know how to navigate between what are often difficult abstractions and practical issues, such as such as when a feminist comes along and says, well, they shouldn't be able to be Greek girls because that's oppressing women. And it's like, no. You're saying you want women to be strong and free and independent and choose for themselves. Stick to it.
Yeah, but then feminists don't want that at all.
No, we know they don't. But you with me? It's like, so you need an ideological framework in which we can just say to them, no, what you're saying is rubbish because individuals are free to make their own choices once they reach the age of maturity.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking about how we could try to reach people in a different way, though. And in all fairness, there isn't one way to do it. I mean, you have to have several compelling patterns.
You mean just like every ideology out there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say that the core should be a morality, or the core aim should be to have a morality. Something for people to be able to know to react in a healthy way instead of the current highly unhealthy ways people react to anything and everything.
Maybe I should return my concept of the good book, because I think the greatest morality out there is do unto others as you would have them do to you.
You mean the golden rule?
Yeah.
Which everyone has, apparently.
Yeah, but no one follows, actually.
Of course not, because the first, see, and this is my point about the ideologies, right? They have a morality, but it's not important to follow the morality. It's only important to claim to follow the morality, to adopt the label.
And force others to follow your morality.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you have to do it yourself.
It's a standard deflection tactic. I'm not doing it, but if I point at somebody else and say they're not doing it, no one will notice me. Which seems to be the core of all ideologues ever.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That's actually
I mean, I didn't say it'd be easy. In fact, I said it wouldn't be easy. But it just seems to me that I hear over and over people complain about this vacuum, this moral vacuum, this ideological vacuum, this cultural vacuum. And okay, they can't all be wrong. Well, they can, but anyway, that's another story about statistics and human fallibility. But supposing that is correct, the solution, therefore, is to formulate something that people can follow that is healthy, which, let's be honest, will be just for anything compared to feminism and Marxism, etc.
okay. Oh. Oh. Well, I guess it would be a good thing to reestablish and make people re-recognize the positive behaviors needed for.
I wrote a few things down. I might as well read them at this point then. Okay. I mean, my view is that much Enlightenment thought isn't directly of use because it isn't packaged in the way needed. And it isn't packaged in the way needed specifically because what it was trying to achieve is the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Because free and open inquiry is the opposite of what you do for an ideology.
Yeah.
So I wrote the following, just some things. Okay. So what would an ideology need to be? So I'll start off with this: a framework underpinning the rights of the individual, of due process, habeas corpus, innocent until proven guilty, right to a fair trial, and the importance of free speech.
Mm-hmm.
Most importantly, as I mentioned a minute ago, we need a way to differentiate between what is compatible with such an ideology and what is not. That is, all ideologies have their limits. Tolerance should never be unequivocal, for we cannot tolerate those who would end us. Mm-hmm. There is no cultural relativism. We need to identify our culture and assert its superiority. We need to give people moral fortitude again, to stand up to those who would do them ill with sophistic arguments about tolerance and equality that actually promote intolerance and inequality. We need to promote Sorry.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you said a second ago about recognizing our system as the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously, because that's not literally what you said, but I hope you mean what I mean.
No, I did. That was what I was saying, yeah.
I don't think it is about that we have to recognize that our system is the best.
No, I think within an ideology you do. This is part of it.
Our system is the best for us.
No, but that
if people want to live in our system, they live in our system.
And ideologically, you then short circuit all that to ours is the best. You don't allow dispute.
No,
which is not to say you fossilize the culture, but you do not brook the kind of arguments that are used so frequently to undermine our culture.
Yeah, because the difference is I don't have to think our culture is the best. I don't care. But our culture is our culture, and we think it's the best.
It's our best, and which is, from an ideological point of view, all that ever matters.
Yeah, indeed. And if you think yours is better, fair enough. Go wherever.
Off and do it. Yeah.
But don't force us.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And I go on as I do. So we need to promote the importance of the individual, yet also the role of the individual within society, the complex relationship between the individual and those groups and communities of which they are a part, of the intrinsic value of the family and the different roles within it, but also the importance and value of wider community to reflect our evolutionary heritage of living in bands, the value of other people to help educate and socialize us, of the importance of acting collectively, that is, with common purpose, for some things and only some things, but also the threats and tyranny to which government or any large and thus powerful body tends over time, of the difference between individual good intention and the tragedy that can come from the unavoidable operation of many individuals interacting.
Yeah.
If we don't prevent it, that is, and of the difficulty of enacting change at a societal level, of the problem of wishful thinking, over-optimism, and the general failure to consider what could go wrong. Those were the bits I could think of at the time.
Yeah. No, I can understand and I can agree with that.
But these are meta. These aren't the things to say. These are what the ideology should say.
This is how we want to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is good. The question remains, though, how?
Oh, indeed. Absolutely. Definitely.
I'm trying to figure out, or no, not figure out. I'm trying to think of ways.
Well, it's that old quote, if not us, who? If not now, when?
When?
So it's a question of, well, just be the pebble that gathers a little snow and starts the avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be the avalanche, you just have to be the pebble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I really think I obviously I did already hear what you had to say, and I really think you are making
Sorry.
a main Granger. Come on. But no, I mean he makes a good point, even if it is from a
I am pretty sure that J.K. Rowling stole it from someone before her.
Well, there are so many versions of that. I don't have to run faster than a lion. I only have to run faster than you.
No, that's just a bad joke.
Wait, but it's the same principle.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you can get
no.
great.
No,
can
one is about the individual not getting hurt, and the other is about the contribution of each of us in our own small way to a greater undertaking.
So you can
Those aren't the same thing.
you can have great influence by only small performance differences.
Yeah, but not being eaten by a lion isn't great influence.
Yeah, I know it's a joke, though.
What worries me more is that ludicrous leprechaun immediately realised it was a quote from Hermione Granger, because I wouldn't have had a clue, and I've read all the books many years ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't know either, but in all fairness, it could be. I mean,
So now we know ludicrous leprechaun secretly wants to be a house elf.
she's gay, by the way. I heard everyone in the books is gay, so.
Weird. Is that why she went with Ron Weasley?
Well, I mean, Hermione and Ron Weasley, I mean, they end up together, didn't they?
That's what I said.
Yeah, she got married and a kid, which is quite weird for a gay woman.
No, I don't know. My sister-in-law, or one of them, is the daughter of a gay man.
Right. Okay.
But then it used to be less common to be openly homosexual when it was actually illegal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I'm not quoting Hermione Granger if Emma Watson said it in real life, ludicrous.
Well.
No.
So, yeah. I find myself wondering which way to go, though. I mean,
But the idea of tonight was merely to start a conversation. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry about all the flashbacks that might cause, because I know there's certain other groups who say the same thing. But it genuinely is to just get people thinking about it. And
Yeah, that's true that.
you know, I mean, at the end of the day, my focus I haven't read it, but the start of my thing is about how too often in society we rush into the doing before we properly understood whether we even should be doing anything and what it is we're trying to do. And so my my purpose was to just introduce and discuss the idea for doing it, because you know, whether we should do it, what we should do, how we would do it, all these things come a long way before the actual what.
Yeah. Well, I guess we do need to recognize, or rather, we need to help people recognize the positive things of our society.
Yeah, and as I say, you know, part of this came from seeing a Sargon interview with Black Pigeon Speak, and they were still talking in terms of the loss of faith and the need to bring back faith, when it's not faith that is actually critical, it's ideology.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, because faith in itself, I mean, yeah, it could work, but the downside of faith is that it stops people thinking.
Well, no, but it's not just that. The point is this: good or ill, we used to have, in terms of religions and things, quite homogenous societies. Those days are gone.
Mm-hmm.
We have large multi-faith communities in most Western societies. Therefore, taking a faith-based approach would be counterproductive, because you're then pitting people against each other. Whereas if you can come up with a secular ideology, which is not antithetical to religion, after all, part of the Enlightenment philosophy is freedom of conscience. And therefore, we can all get on board with common values, whether we are religious or not, if we define those values in a successful manner.
Yeah. But
then we set up a test, and all the Muslims who fail it get kicked out. I mean, and damn, I can't.
sorry?
I was just taking the piss. Sorry.
No, but so basically, it boils down to how can we remind people. I think maybe reminding is a better way of pushing this forward. How can we remind people of the things they should be filled with pride over?
Yeah, exactly. Instead of destroying the corpus of work of the dead white males so hated within academia, we should be celebrating them.
Yeah.
And dead white females too, and people of other colours and sexes, if people really, really want to argue about it.
No, but that's true though, because if I look, for example, the whole ethnicity thing, I bring this up very often, and people will say, well, Barack Obama was maybe the first black president. I'm like, you know what? He's not even important enough for this. Because Obama got voted in. That's a popularity contest.
Mm-hmm.
Look at people like Larry the Elder. Look at people like Thomas Sowell.
And also, we have to play their games back at them. Barack Obama was not the first black president.
No, plenty of black presidents.
No.
Not in America.
No. He was the first half black president.
Oh, yeah, because he wasn't a full black.
No, he was half white.
Yeah.
Why does the white part get destroyed? According to their rules, it shouldn't. According to their rules, you are what you are, I mean, we don't give a monkeys. But I'm not going to call him a black president because he wasn't a black president. He was a half-white president.
Yeah. He was a mulatto.
No, I've just called him a half-white president. Barack Obama was the first half-white president.
Mm-hmm. No, but I mean, even if he were the black president, I don't care. I mean, he got there in a popularity contest, basically. But I like to think of people, as I said, like Thomas Sowell. Why did he get famous? Because people are amazed by his knowledge, by his clarity of thinking.
Because he's not a Democrat.
No, I don't think it's a Democrat.
No, trust me. Because he's not a Democrat. He's off the reservation.
Well, I don't think Thomas Sowell ever was.
Yeah, he's not on the reservation, therefore he's off it. Whether he was ever on it is irrelevant. It wasn't an act of leaving I was describing, more a location.
Yeah, but I mean, his wisdom isn't based on bipartisan stuff.
No, but because he doesn't toe the Democrat line, say their talking points, have their views.
Yeah, fair enough, but he doesn't toe the Republican line either.
No, but, and this is the irony, they don't care. It's not important because they're not identitarians at this point.
I'm wondering though. Well, it could be that.
Well, it's always lots of things. I mean, let's be honest. I'm not an American, so I have no idea how these things work over there. But it seems obvious to me that people who will laud anyone of the right opinions for their identity will do everything they can to ignore people of the wrong opinions with the same identities.
Mm-hmm.
Just as Candace Owens can be a white supremacist.
Oh yeah,
and Gadsad a Nazi. Ben Shapiro a Nazi.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro a Nazi.
Jewish Nazis. Damned amount of them at the moment.
No, but I mean, if we look at people like Gadsad, or if we look at people like Ben Shapiro, they might be ethnically different than the average Western European, but they are part of the Western culture. These are people who are at the forefront of what we are.
Yeah. Sorry, I have to make noises because Michael's worried about the amount of dead time. He apparently thinks that thinking is a bad thing.
I'm sorry, Michael. Sometimes I'm not the fastest tool.
To ludicrous. Yes, well, obviously, he's so committed a white supremacist that he turned gay and married a black man to hide it.
Yeah.
Proof, absolute proof. He's a white supremacist by being gay and marrying a black man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what else can you say? You know.
But he's gay, though. I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to say he's a Nazi or a white supremacist, he's gay. Being gay is not something they look forward to or appreciative of. And that's a different... Sorry, go on then.
Sorry, just chuckling at Nick's comment about American $20 bills.
Oh, yeah. I mean, shit. I mean, it's so funny because they wanted to have Harriet Tubman, which I don't care either way. It's identity politics 101, but they're pushing for it because she's a woman. Yeah, but she's a Republican. Yeah, but she's a woman. Okay, well, we can go with that one. She loves guns.
I've no idea who she was.
Well, there you go.
Pardon my ignorance. I'm only a lowly Britisher who knows nothing of your American things.
Let me see if I can find a fast.
No. I'll Google it. Don't worry. Not Google it. Don't go it. Damn it! Bloody linguistic.
Yes. Okay. Let me see. Let's Okay. No, I'm going to go that one.
Oh, she was an abolitionist and political activist.
Oh, aye.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, well, she was a black woman, so she wasn't just a woman, she was a black woman.
A black woman, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to share the screen a little bit. Actually, yeah, I'm going to share the screen. Fuck it. Fill the stream with...
If the left, this is a British thing now, if the left had any honour at all, Erin Pizzey would be a national hero. The founder of the world's first domestic violence shelter.
Yeah.
Instead, she is hated by the feminists because she had the temerity to suggest, from her own lived experience, that women can be just as violent as men.
Yeah.
And for that sacrilege, they tried to kill her.
Yep.
But they're not terrorists, feminists, honest.
Yeah. Well, actually, feminism was, in a way, the first Western world terrorist group that was actually Western. I mean, not counting the Bolsheviks, not counting the anarchists. I mean, feminists actually wanted to change society within society, whereas most of the other groups wanted to change society as.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm actually trying to find out, Underground Railroad, Spy, United States.
I like the way it flashed up a Union Jack there.
Religion, head injury. Trying to find her politics.
Well,
I'm lazy. I don't know.
No, I mean, politics from that long ago was, you know.
Well, I can tell you one thing. She won the Democrats. Yeah.
No, because the Democrats founded the KKK.
Well, and they started a civil war. And part of that civil war was slavery.
Yeah.
Anyway, can you continue a little bit so I can do myself a favor at the toilet? I'll be right back.
You need a thingy bag. Oh dear. Now I was thinking about the woman who assisted Florence Nightingale. She was a black woman. Florence Nightingale. Let's do a search on her, and hopefully her entry will mention her assistant. maybe won't. But yes, no, sorry. Even more dead air because I'm now scrolling through a Wikipedia entry. Yes, and Michael Keller's correct. It is a Union Jack on a ship. That's a bad habit, an old one, because it was many decades before I ever learnt the truth. They had lied to me in school. Invested, she invented it. I don't know about invested it. But she did far more than the pie chart. Some of her visual representations are truly amazing. The pie chart doesn't even come close. I don't think they were her ward, though, ludicrous. They were military wards, and she was just there seeing how terrible the sanitation was.
I like to respond to what you said about AOC too, by the way, ludicrous. Because, yeah, it's amazing that politicians can vote for their own pay.
Yeah, they're good at that here, too.
Yeah, that's true about everywhere in the Western world. To me, I would say they should come in with a mediocre pay. They don't have to be poor. They should come in at a mediocre pay, and then
we'd get even more mediocre politicians than we already get.
No, I doubt that though, because there are lots of people who are willing to be politicians for the good of things, but they can't get through the mediocre, self-aggrandizing freeloaders.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a raise in your salary, I think it's not up to government to decide that. I think it's up to the people to decide that. That's something you could use your referenda for.
Yeah, we only have had one in my lifetime, I think. 2, sorry, 3. I'm not very good at counting, am I?
Yeah, you're English. What can I say?
Aren't I lucky?
No, that's the Irish. The Irish are the lucky ones.
No.
Oh.
It was Rudyard Kipling, I think, who said, "I won the lottery in life. I was born an Englishman."
Yeah.
Admittedly, that was a long time ago.
And also not a very good way.
Not a good way?
No, I don't believe that. I mean, even a long time ago, being English, I mean, you still had to be more than just English.
Oh, you have to understand that in any, it's the same with the Ten Commandments even. When people talk about everyone, they never mean everyone.
Yeah.
They always mean us, people like us, and no one else matters.
Yeah. Yeah, that is somewhat worrying. But hey, that's identity politics for you.
Oh, and I agree with Nick's radio. It's the fact that so many of them, strangely, step out of a ministerial position into a high-ranking consultancy role or whatever with a business in that same sphere. I'm Minister of Defence. I get to purchase munitions, and I'm leaving here to go and work for one of the biggest arms suppliers.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, especially this is something that happens in America more than in the rest of the Western world.
Oh, no, it happens in Britain.
Yeah, but in America more. That you've got politicians who, I mean, let's be honest, $160 a year is still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But
$160 a year?
Yeah.
Don't you mean 1,000?
160,000, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. But then after a few years, they have an earned capital of several million. I mean, seriously, that's...
It's all that insider trading you can do when you're in the middle of government.
It's weird, though. I mean, stuff like that, that's the problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, the whole thing is a racket. I had this horrible shock. I was reading something, and it was some American company, something like Amazon or something, and I was reading, and it was like, Vice President in charge of this or that, Nick Clegg. And I'm going, what the fuck? Nick Clegg?
Yep.
He landed on his feet.
Oh, aye.
Yes, they say it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Well, that's the whole
Or
thing.
how brown you're willing to get your nose.
Well, that's true for a lot of things, though. I mean, let's be honest. If you look at who gets famous or what band comes through as well, it's mostly based on who do you know.
No.
No.
Bands?
Sorry?
Bands?
Yeah, music.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it was different in my day.
It actually was yeah. I've been.
I mean the popular shit. Yes, absolutely. It's all about
not just popular shit. I've been with the. I've had a pub a few years back. Well, a few decades back, and I'd had a podium. People could come perform. I had bands play with me. They were fucking awesome. They were great. They really were. And I mean, some of them I got a little bit of airtime for them on Dutch radio, but yeah, it's I.
Oh yeah, no, the publicizing of the music industry, but
it's not based on how good you are. It's based on who you know. Because if I see some of the Dutch
black
bands,
and white, and I would say 2 words to prove this: Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, but that's a different time, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. But
I mean, bands like Led Zeppelin now are absolutely without chance.
Well, no one can play their instruments that well anymore, sadly.
Well, that's not true, actually, but fair enough. I mean,
I'm just having an old codger moment. Don't worry.
Look at someone like, for example, Sid Vicious.
Oh well, that guy was a sick joke at the time.
Yeah, but nobody would hear him now.
Well, no, he shouldn't have been heard then. He was purely a marketing stunt.
I disagree, though, because it was fun.
No, it was a marketing stunt. He couldn't play.
Yeah, but his songs were funny.
Yes, and what were they? Eddie Cochran rip-offs and Frank Sinatra's My Way.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even contemporary. It was back to the old rock and roll days. I mean, for goodness sake, there was nothing punk about him. He's just a moron.
Well, that's the funny thing about punk, though. They're the first boy band. Everyone talks about boy bands.
What do you mean the first boy band?
They were.
So the Osmonds didn't pre-exist punk. I'm pretty sure they did.
The Osmonds weren't a boy band. They
yes, they were.
No.
Oh, yes, they were.
This is the difference between a boy band and a band of boys.
You see, this is the point. You're saying Sex Pistols were the first boy band.
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
No, they weren't. I've got a white label they cut in '76, and they're playing. Yes, exactly. Well said, the Monkeys with the original boy band. They were entirely fabricated. They weren't even allowed to perform on their own records.
Well, all right then.
But that Sid Vicious was brought in to replace Glenn Matlock.
Yeah.
Glenn Matlock with Steve Jones and Paul Cook, drummer and guitarist, were awesome musicians. That's why the Sex Pistols were good. But Glenn Matlock didn't have the right image, so they kicked him out and replaced him with someone who couldn't actually play. But if you look at all the records, they were actually recorded by Glenn Matlock.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Anyway, we've been thoroughly off topic.
No, it's all on topic.
Is it?
Well, yeah, because if you're going to make society more like one society, there is literally nothing that's off topic. Everything's political.
That's true. That's true.
In fact, I almost feel like taking a gentle, humorous poke at Toxic Threads, because she was going, is there anything that's not political? No, seriously, there isn't. And I'll tell you why.
Hello.
Because the ideologues treat everything as political. So it doesn't matter. You can go along having your picnic out there in the middle of nowhere, and they will find a way to make it political.
Mm.
The very fact that you can do that will be seen as a sign of privilege or something.
Yeah. Well, no, but this is something to be thinking about. What can we do? How can we? I don't see any fast answers, though.
Of course not. If it's worth doing, you don't do it quickly, you do it right. I mean, after all, feminism's taken 200 years to get to this point. It wasn't just quick burn.
Yeah.
You have to be
correct. Yeah, so how can we...
If we wanted magic wands, we'd be Marxists.
Ha! True that. Mm. Well, it's something to think about. No, actually, I'm thinking about doing a little bit more work on the good book thingy. I mean, I only made one video for that one. But maybe I should make more of them. Because those are... They were supposed to be... suggestions for morality, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should put more work in those.
Well, it is not. It's not a solo. The whole point of this sort of thing is to have it spread as an idea widely and get input or whatever. You don't have to have input. People can just do their own stuff. It's just getting the thought out there that if we lament a vacuum of ideology and we bemoan the ideologies that are filling that vacuum, perhaps the solution is to put in place an ideology that is better than those ideologies. That's the core of it. And what that ideology is, you know, we have people from different countries, different cultures, different political views. It's not about saying this is what the ideology should be. The reason, what I tried to outline were objectives that it would be, in my view, good for the ideology to satisfy. But they're just goals. They're not actual positions or anything. It's just these are things I think are good.
Yeah.
And remember, learn from the other ideologies. If in doubt, make shit up. Authoritative about it.
Yeah. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit.
Yeah.
Seems to work for a lot of politicians. Sorry?
Zelig Leo V says start with the youth.
Yeah, you always have to start with the youth. And this is basically also what what's his face? I'm terrible with names, I have to admit. That Russian guy. Bezmenov, yeah.
He's been spoken a little about of late.
Yes. But I mean, he wasn't the first one who'd recognized this. Who was it that said...
He wasn't recognizing it. He was literally conveying to America
what
his
was being
instructions
done.
when he lived in the Soviet Union.
I'm trying to remember... I mean, did the quotes give me...
that's the Jesuit thing. Give me a child from the age of 7 and I will give you them.
Yeah.
The Jesuits, that's what they thought.
Yeah. Well, not just Jesuits. I think.
No, but that's where that is my understanding. Hundreds of years ago, they were the people who came up with it.
Yeah, could be true. I've seen it many a time before, though.
Well, so hundreds of years ago.
Well, I haven't been around that long.
No, you say you've seen it a lot. It's like you are most likely often seen it more recently in terms of the thing you're referring to.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm zoning out.
Oops.
But this
Yeah,
is
child at 7. Hang on. What is the?
yeah. I think we're going to call it quits as well, because I noticed myself zoning out. I'm sorry. Well, folks, I'm off. Night, everyone. That's what Michael Keller said. My response to that is, I think I might call it a quits as well. John, what do you think?
I think you're the boss, mate. You've got the button.
Yeah, that's true. I think we call it quits. We might revisit this topic though, because I do think there is some interesting stuff to do with it. I think this is a question that keeps coming back time and again. What can we do to change our society? Now, obviously, stuff like Sargon going outside to talk to people in the same way that Stephen Crowder has done is actually not a bad way of dealing with it at all.
Yeah, the problem is as you say, it's about the media. And I have an answer for you. The quote comes from Saint Francis Xavier, 1506 to 1552.
Thank you. Was he a Jesuit? Maybe. Who cares? Anyway, people, I think this is where we're going to call it quits. And thank you all for watching. I'm sorry that we are not our chipper selves, but old man and all that. And it's fucking sweltering here. The heat is absolutely destroying me.
I'm as chipper as I ever get. Crikey.
Anyway, see you all next time. Thank you all for watching, and stay happy. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.